Oh, wait, actually what I just saw is there's an error in my TAML. I forgot to close this tag out right here. So the module definition starts at the top, it ends at the bottom, and a child element of it is my declared assets. So before I start that, I just need to close that out. If I had not made that change, then TAML would have kicked back saying this is not an invalid file, and then this would not show up in my sandbox toy list and nothing would work. So I needed to catch that first. Now the next step is kind of up to you. I have a personal preference to create any folders I might need before I start creating any scripts or assets. So I'm going to go back into my folder. This is under Mitch Toy. I'm going to create a folder that will have assets. And I usually like to separate out my images from my animations. And then if I have any unique scripts, something that can't fit inside of my main.cs, I usually organize them under scripts. So if I were to look at my module again, you'll see that a lot of that makes sense. I have the assets folder and my module saying look for declared assets and assets. So just keep that in mind. And also in that module it says it wants a main.cs. So I'm going to go ahead and create that. And what I actually have is I've copied an empty torque script file into here. I named main.cs. If I open that up, you'll see that there's nothing going on inside of it. Now reviewing my module definition is saying that my ID is Mitch Toy and it's looking for a create and destroy function. So I'm actually going to create those. There. The function declaration is the ID of the module, scope, and then the names that are listed inside of the module. So create and destroy. And when the module is loaded, the contents of this will be triggered. And whenever I'm printing out debug, I usually use 3 @ symbols. It just catches my eye a little easier than anything else. And I'll say that this function was called. And then I'll change it to destroy on this. So I've saved my file. I've got my ID, I've got my create function, I've got my destroy function, and if this is all working, if I have no syntax or TAML errors, when I go to run T2D and I show my sandbox, I go looking for Mitch Toy. Oh, there it is. I'll click it. Now there's nothing going on, so if I just hide the tools, I have a blank window. But I've opened up my console, I see Mitch Toy create function called. So I'm going to switch to another toy, and let's just say pyramid. And if I look at my console again, Mitch Toy destroy function called. And this is the bare minimum to get your module loading inside of the sandbox. And from here, it's completely up to you to do what you ever want. Now thinking about other things is that from here I can create some assets because I know my module is set up for that. Or I can create some scripts and start executing those. But there's a little bit more that I want to add to my main.cs. And primarily, a lot of the modules for the sandbox, i.e. the toys, they usually need to have a reset function, and this is something the sandbox will look for when I click the reset button. It'll call this function. So there's my reset, and that should be enough to meet all the sandbox requirements as well. So I have my create and I have my destroy, and as with the pattern of our other toys, we would have a little bit more going on here. Like I would do all of my toy initialization inside of here. And at this point is what kind of toy do we want to make? And my first inclination was to do something a little more complex, but because these are getting started videos, I'm actually just going to try and get a sprite rendering on screen. And the best way to set that up is inside of the create function, and then I can have some utility scripts going on in another script that I create, and I'll just want to make sure that it's all cleaned up later. So with that in mind, let's do something really simple. Let's get a sprite loading on screen.